This picture proves that the Malaysian Airlines flight MH17 was shot down by a Ukrainian fighter jet. Or at least that is what the Russian public is told, and not by random websites. This photo and story aired on Russian state television channel TV1. The only problem? It's a fake.
But the photograph is crude fake, and there are multiple indicators.
The photo of the Boeing from above is a stock image taken from Google. The word Malaysia has been added later, but to the wrong part of the plane. This is just one example of how Russian media creates an alternative reality for its viewers.
Probably one of the most famous stories now with Russian propaganda is a crucified 3 years old boy in eastern Ukraine who, of course, was never crucified by Ukrainian National Guard, but the Russian state television made the headline story of that, and they've been quoting just one woman who saw another woman allegedly witnessing that, and that was kind of a big story for half of the day. And then by the end of the day, it appears that this is a story from the Game of Thrones.
One of the most important groups calling out these untruths, by Russian and Ukrainian news, is the organisation Stop Fake.
This week's top highlights are:
the idea was to gather all the information which is fake, to refute it and to put it in one place. So later you can go there and see the logic behind it.
Stop Fake is a small organisation operating out of donated premises and is staffed largely by journalism graduates working in their free time. It's up against one of the best funded and coordinated communication campaigns ever. And most of that targets Ukraine. Stop Fake has already been targeted by cyber and troll attacks on their website. Another victim of attacks has been the news channel Ukraine Today. Its estimated budget of $15 million is no match for the $300 million that Russia Today already receives, and that's before a recent 40% increase. While Russia Today is increasing its international market with new channels dedicated to the UK and Germany, Ukraine Today struggles to get beyond an online audience.
I see it more as an information attack, perhaps closer to a massive sort of media terrorist attack. I think there was no war, there was no two sides to conflict, actually. There was a very concerted effort from Moscow to disinform the world about the situation in Ukraine. So,
while information may not be physical, its effects are. And the Kremlin's idea is not just to misinform Russians and the world, it's also to weaken the resolve of Ukrainian soldiers.
Russian proxies in Ukraine, they send the message across that generals betrayed you, that your leadership doesn't care for your lives, that they only care for your money. Soldiers read it, they start asking questions, and this has a direct impact on the way they behave.
And this shows that the information war is much more important than just publishing different opinions.
And it's not only the front line for the information war, it's the front line for the real war, which is being waged by Vladimir Putin's Russia against all international norms, international law.
The Russian information campaign is expensive, but despite Western sanctions, the collapse of the ruble and a plummeting oil price, there are no signs of Russia giving up its grip on the information space. Indeed, recently it funded a new Russian news agency and a project to present a more Russian version of some of Wikipedia's information. Most in the West agree that free, fair and credible journalism is the best answer to propaganda, but that also costs, and it's not clear that Ukraine has the resources it needs.
You don't really have true editorial independence and freedom of the press unless you're economically viable as well. And I don't know how financially sustainable journalism is going to evolve in a country that's this poor and that is undergoing enough stress.
And it might be that the fortunes of a free Ukrainian media will be central to who wins this ongoing information war.